Hi, teachers. It's Miss Bruin in the virtual lab, and this video goes out to you. Today, I'm going to be talking about using system models to assess our students. And I'm finding that it's a little bit more engaging than a typical type of assessment. So, I'm going to be using the example from our researching nuclear power lesson, but you can do this with it's a teaching strategy that you can use with any content. So once kids have learned a bit about the subject, you can assess them by having them sketch out a quick system model. And I've been working really hard to get my kids to understand what a system model is and how a system model is different from a diagram. So that's the biggest struggle that I've been dealing with. So for this lesson, all I did was translate the question into system model prompts. So the two questions that I want to know, if my kids know, is what is the actual fuel for nuclear power? And after doing their research, how is the energy released by a nuclear reaction converted into electricity? So um, all I would do is translate the questions into specific prompts that help them focus what information they need to use on their system model. And they can use this as like a checklist as well. And you can break this down if your kids need more support or if they would need these two questions to be separated. You could also think about making each system model a little bit more, especially if this is like the first couple of times you're doing it, making it a little bit more doable by chunking it up into two separate system models. So, of course, you're going to want to have them review, take notes on the information that we have to include. So, as we watch the video, let's make sure we're stopping and jotting down when we get information that we're looking for that's going to help us answer these two questions. And then I found that it's really helpful to analyze both a diagram and a system model and really make it clear to the kids that a system model has a lot more information on it. It's not just the labels of important parts, right? And so you're going to want to have them look at both, compare, and make a quick list of what makes a system model different from a diagram. You could have them look at more than one if they're still having trouble with this. Um, and make it really clear that a system model explains how those important parts work together or in a process. Um, and then I found that Jamboard is a really nice tool to use. I've also been doing partner group work, so creating a group system model. So they have to kind of navigate and negotiate with each other about what information needs to make it onto their big poster system model. If you're teaching remotely, Jamboard is a great tool to use for kids who either want to work together in a group or you can assign each of them their own personal Jamboard template. And I've noticed that there are a few trends that kids seem to struggle with when they're pushing themselves to create a system model. The biggest one being they label everything and then forget, or they're not really sure how to explain how those different parts work in conjunction with each other. So I've been experimenting with supporting kids in giving them the pictures and the parts. So they already have those parts, and all they have to do is figure out what words to use to explain the relationship between those parts. I've also been talking to colleagues about, I don't have an example of this, but I may try it next week, giving certain groups who might need a little bit of extra support maybe the first step and the last step and asking them which step is missing so that they have to explain the relationship between the parts that are missing, but they have two examples of what that could look and sound like on their post. Teachers, in retrospect, I think that using system models is just a more interesting way to get kids to show their thinking. It's also really beneficial when they get better and better at it with more and more practice. It's really beneficial when you're doing any kind of engineering projects to connect the work back to system models they've created off of content so that they understand that a system model can be used to explain their engineering project as well. And it's not just about drawing the different parts or labeling the different parts, it's also about explaining how those parts work together with each other. So it's a pretty versatile tool and an important one for scientists to get skilled at. So I urge you to try it with whatever unit you're in. Think about where using a system model might fit to assess our students or to express some of their ideas, some of their creative ideas. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.